Again, my name is Gabe Zollner. Well, anyway, so it looks like the tip of the iceberg is starting to present itself in California. It looks like Stockton has just joined San Bernardino and Mammoth Lakes as being the top 3 cities that have declared bankruptcy. And the problem is there's a number of states that are going to, according to what the media said, follow bankruptcy shortly as well. One being Riverside, and the other being Valero. I can't recall the third, but I'm sure there'll be many in addition to those as well that are going to go bankrupt. You know, the problem started back in 1974, and that's when the citizens of California elected Jerry Brown to become governor. And he put very, very lax regulations into place, actually stringent, lax for the unions, but stringent for the taxpayers. And what's happened is that you have situations that are totally and completely out of control. What I heard on the news was San Bernardino, it was Stockton. Stockton, 40% of what they bring in from the taxpayers goes to pay pensions. And those are pensions of people that are no longer working. Take, for example, Sheriff Mike Corona. Now, in 2011, he turned himself in to start serving a federal prison term of 66 months. Well, during that period of time, he's going to receive $1,386,000 while in prison on his $21,000 a month pension. How insane is that? Here we have someone that is receiving a pension from the sheriff's department, having committed crimes during his tenure in the sheriff's department, where he's serving a 66-month prison term, and at the same time receiving $1,386,000. That, my friends, is why California is going to go down a poop chute, and it all has to do with the policies and the procedures that the present governor, once again, Jerry Brown. Does that not show you how stupid these Californians really are? Well, I shouldn't say that. That's not fair. It's the Democrats that put them in power, and it's the Democrats that put them in power again. And I'm sure that there's not a single Republican citizen in California that is pleased that Jerry Brown's back at the helm to further push the state over the cliff. You know, you take a look at the sheriff that replaced Corona, and I'm going off memory now, but I believe Sandra Hutchins is her name, and she was with the Los Angeles Sheriff's Department when she took the helm of Orange County Sheriff's Department. And if I'm not mistaken, she had already retired. So what that means is that having retired, she receives her pension. And I think her pension's around $220,000 a year. Now, you take that and you add her present salary, which is probably a little larger than that. So she's probably making close to $500,000 a year. And if I'm not mistaken, also, when she took helm of the sheriff's office, she brought along, I think, 4 or 5 of individuals that worked for her that were also retired when she was with the Los Angeles Sheriff's Department. So those 4 or 5 are collecting, I don't know, a couple of $1 million in total a year. So really, is it any wonder that these states are going broke? The average sheriff in California, when they retire, they get 90% of their highest last 3 years' earnings. So what do you think they all do? Well, no different than what the firemen do. They all work overtime. And their last years, instead of 100,000, is like 170 or 180,000. So they get 90% of 180,000 for the rest of their lives. Now, when they finally pass on, if they're married, their wives get half of that for the rest of their lives. So think about it. You work for 20 years as an Orange County sheriff, and you're on easy street for the rest of your life in California. Now, is it any wonder that the state is going to go completely underwater? I know it's close to the coastline and all that, but it's going to get swamped. What do you think is going to happen to the citizens that are retired, that are living off of these luxurious pensions in San Bernardino, in Mammoth Lakes, in Stockton, and soon in Riverside and Valero, when their pension checks are no longer available? It's going to get nasty. And who's to blame? Well, I think the governor is to blame. Yeah, and the Democrats, they're to blame. What they do is they create insane programs that can't be sustained. And they don't care, you know, just as long as they get what they want when they want it. Well, you know what? California is not alone. There's other states that are going to have similar issues because of these out-of-control pensions. And who caused all these problems? Well, unions. Yeah, it's the unions. You know, the unions. There was a time when they were necessary. That time's long gone. Yeah. And unions want employees to pay union dues so they can continue donating hundreds of millions of dollars to the Democrats to keep them in power, so this Ponzi scheme, which is really what it is, can continue. Well, San Bernardino, Mammoth Lakes, and Stockton found out that the house of cards eventually are going to fall, as they will in other cities throughout California, as they will in other cities throughout America. Now, that's all on the assumption that Big Sis isn't going to come in and end it for most of us. But the future, I don't see one, for a whole lot of reasons. I told you what I think. What do you think?